tutaj krzywa to kolejny odcinek z serii Broken Sword, Director's Cut, Shadow of the Templars, czy odwrotna kolejność, no ale wiadomo. W poprzednim odcinku dowiedzieliśmy się dość sporo, jak się nazywa nasz zabójca, clown, oraz gdzie przebywa. I jest to hotel Ubu, na południu centrum Paryża. I jesteśmy przed tym właśnie hotelem. Jak widzicie, mamy dwóch podejrzanych typów przed wejściem. I to są bardzo barwne postacie. Zobaczycie w przyszłości. O, nie przeszukują nas. I tak, tutaj jest dwóch znajomych. Ta osoba, którą już wcześniej widzieliśmy w nagłówku prasowym, pan, który dostał Nobla, oraz piękna pani grająca na fortepianie. Jeśli oglądaliście moją poprzednią serię, która dotyczyła właśnie Broken Sword 5, to ją na pewno pamiętacie, gdyż nie mówię, ona występowała w pierwszej części właśnie tutaj, w trzeciej, która też miała prawie ten sam wątek fabularny co pierwsza, i w ostatniej piątej.
What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady
Lubię ją.
The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is dick.
Precisely.
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of it.
I'd be no surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hemel Hempstead. Organises fundraising for the Rotarians. Lovely man.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these
nie
years.
pamiętam, kto to był.
Ah, but it
Ale
wasn't to
będzie nasz
be.
Khan.
He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
Do you know what this is?
At a guess, I'd say it was a clown's nose.
That's right. It was worn as a disguise by a vicious killer.
Good heavens, are you trying to alarm me?
It's true. He uses the name Khan.
Tak.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's
Pokaż mi
him.
zdjęcie.
That's Merlin.
She represented everything I loved about the English. The
No,
lady was
właśnie.
totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you
No i
mean,
ciekawie, prawda?
sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago.
No.
He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes,
Yes,
darling.
yes.
Positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah.
No, mamy nasze
I'd sure like to
dokumenty.
get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantar's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I
Jeszcze
could get
nie.
in there, I would.
Tak. Dobrze, skończmy i na razie
Just
wyjdźmy
a
z
minute,
hotelu.
monsieur.
Musimy zacząć
What's
pewną
your problem?
scenkę.
No problem.
Trzeba kombinować.
Cooperate.
What do you
Aha.
want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Tak,
Nothing,
już
Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the
Idą
authorities.
i
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
Hey, Shorty, I didn't think much of your trick, little man.
Pogadajmy z nim.
I don't know what you're looking for, but you picked on the wrong guy. Maybe you'll spread the word around the sewers. George Stobart is on the case. That's Stobart. 2 B's and 2 T's. It sounded impressive to me, but the weasel didn't seem to share my enthusiasm. Still,
I do not lie.
oh yeah?
Mhm.
And what are you gonna do about it?
If you do not go away, I will gun you down in cold blood, right here in the street, without thinking twice about it.
A, i nie gadamy z nimi więcej. Jak widzicie, przeszukują każdego, kto wyjdzie z hotelu. Porozmawiałem z naszym panem, który wygrał nagrodę Nobla, czyli zdobył, nie wiem,
Excuse me.
wygrał.
Didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mhm. Tak. To będzie niezręczny
Do you know a
wypadek.
guy
Tak,
called
gdyż go
Plantar?
znał, gdyż należeli do tej
I don't
samej
know
organizacji, ale to
anybody
się dowiecie
in
później.
Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England, Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
May I shake you by the hand?
I do not shake the hands of imperialist dogs.
Now that's a real bad attitude problem you've got there. What does this clown's nose suggest to you?
In my country, we have no use for clowns.
I'm glad to hear it.
They were dealt with most severely in the last cultural cleansing.
What about the mimes? Did you get them too?
All gone. Our streets are mime-free.
Sounds like heaven. Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Chodźmy zatem na górę.
The door was locked. If the tailor's description was correct, this was the killer's room. The sign on the door read 22.
No, zamknięty.
The door was locked.
Mówmy z naszym pedałkiem przy
I want some information.
recepcji.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
I've just been manhandled by a gorilla.
Yes? I do not see any signs of a gorilla.
No, not a real gorilla. It was a guy who looked like a gorilla. It happened right out front of this building.
Let me get this quite clear. Are you complaining or bragging?
I want to know what you're going to do about it. The scrawny one has a gun.
I suggest you contact the police.
Can't you do anything about them?
What goes on in the streets of Paris is hardly my responsibility.
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah,
Dostają
oui,
w łapę.
monsieur. May I
Mocno
see some
sejfie.
form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his right cheek.
Vraiment? I tell
Właśnie.
you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar. I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so.
Tak,
Do you know a man named Plantar?
No, monsieur.
o plantardzie pomówmy.
Aren't you concerned that your guests are being intimidated by gangsters?
I naszych
No one else
gangsterkach.
has complained, monsieur. Did they steal anything from you?
Well, no. They didn't find what they were looking for.
What was that?
I don't know. I don't think they did either.
No.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur.
zdjęcie.
That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
It's Merlin, isn't it? Alias Khan, the clown.
I told you, I cannot tell you that.
Hey, shake my hand.
I'd rather not, monsieur.
Poradzimy go.
I'm
Co
still
tam?
sore from... He was correct.
Oh, yeah.
Okej.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
Próbujmy kluczyk buchnąć. To
What?
się nie uda
You are
oczywiście.
trying to steal that key, no?
No way.
What now, monsieur?
Z nim doszła opcja
About the
dialogowa.
key hanging on the hook over there.
Tak,
Oui,
doszła.
monsieur?
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this
Obok
morning.
naszego.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
I believe Khan, the man with the scar, is the man who has taken
What of it? What do you...
access to his...
Do you have a license?
Huh?
A private invest...
Well, not exactly, but I can explain everything.
I am sorry.
I insist you give me the key.
I cannot.
This guy Merlin is a man.
So you say...
He's not only a danger
Yeah.
to society, he has toyed with the affections of Lady Piermont.
Ciel! Are there no depths to which he will not sink?
Precisely.
Aha.
He's already killed once, twice, with your help.
But what if he
Zależy.
finds... No.
Dobrze. Idziemy pomiędzy Madame Piermont, tudzież Lady.
Hi, ma'am.
Pomoże nam.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
That gangster I told you about? He went through my pockets just now.
Good heavens! One never knows what to expect. Thank you for the warning. I shall hide my credit cards in my underwear.
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh no! It's the key to an empty room.
And
Tak.
why, may I ask, do you
Ona
wish
się
to gain
porusza i
access to an
coś.
empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
Well,
Tak.
how can I refuse? I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick.
No. Idzie nasza
I
Lady.
say, you there?
Ale szybko bukniemy kluczyk. Pójdziemy na
Oui,
górę.
madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewelry for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
No,
Over to
znaleźliśmy
you,
klucz szybko.
my dear.
Dobra, mamy. Idziemy na górę.
The door was...
Pokój 21.
Maybe it wasn't the right room.
O, udało się. O, teraz się. Teraz zrobię zapis. Wiesz, tu można bardzo łatwo się potknąć. Zobaczycie czemu. Otwórz szafę, nie mam, a
There was
widzicie, nie ma
nothing in
drzwi
the
łączących.
wardrobe
Te
apart
dwa
from
pokoje.
a vague, lingering smell of camphor.
W tym pokoju nic nie będzie.
The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onion.
Fajny fotelik. Taki telewizor, nie? Tak, jak domyślicie się, jak wejdziemy do pokoju obok. Zostawił głupi Kan otwarte okno. Co my tu mamy?
The bed was freshly made.
Nic nie ma.
It was the battered leather briefcase I'd
Walizeczka.
seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty.
W sejfie schował. Tutaj komodę zobaczymy.
The assassin...
Co mamy w środku?
It was Khan. I had the
Yes,
kind of
to
feeling in
really
my
was
stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom.
Znajome spodnie, nie? Okej. Tak. Dobrze się schował. Normalnie w grze samemu trzeba było wejść w pierwszej części, tu sam widzę wchodził.
As
Poprawili
Khan
to.
opened the wardrobe, I was sure I was dead. But he grabbed his pants quickly and didn't even see me.
Spodnie zmieni. A normalne.
I didn't usually spy on men getting changed. But this guy was a killer, and I didn't want any
No ale to zawsze
surprises.
była teraz pokazana kamera od
He
środka
left his
szafy.
checkered pants on the bed.
Też przycięli trochę. No, można wyjść. Sprawdźmy kieszenie.
I had that kind of feeling you only get from searching still warm pants. The pocket was empty. There was nothing in the pocket. A strip along the side seam of the pants had been unpicked, then sewn back up with strong thread and a special stitch. A strip along the side seam of the pants had been unpicked, then sewn back. I flipped the pants over.
Okej.
I found an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. But as I pulled it from the
notatnik.
pocket, a strong thread
Nie,
came with
zapałki.
it. A thread with a metal tag on the end. I found nothing in the pocket. I pulled on the metal tag and the
Okay.
thread came out of the pants. It was like pulling out a ripcord. I turned the pants over again.
No i teraz tu się wzięło.
I searched the pocket
O,
gingerly
kieszeń.
and found a pass card. It read Thomas
Wizytówka.
Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. It was the card I'd...
Mamy już ID.
The matchbook bore a pattern of swirling colors.
Jaki? Klub Paramount. To będziemy w nim tam w przyszłości. W międzyczasie możemy stąd na razie wyjść. Czy nawet nie tędy, ale dobra. Normalnie mogliśmy wyjść. No ale już trudno. I
What
mamy
now,
naszą
monsieur?
ID w sumie.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, monsieur.
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's
mamy.
property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe I can live with that. A murderer? Are you sure?
Positive. Do you recognize...
Tak.
That is the property of the...
Correct.
May I ask how it found its way from the little hook to your pocket?
Would you believe it was put there by a poltergeist?
No, monsieur. The hotel is regularly serviced by an exorcist. If we had a ghost, Father Pécon would have flushed it out.
I suppose you...
Not especiellement, since you are so determined to conduct your little investigation.
No. Ale niech nam... Rozmawiamy z naszym
Hello again.
noblistą.
Do you recognize this card?
No, I do not.
Does the name on this matchbook mean anything to you?
Indeed it does, for Alamut was the home of the old man of the mountains. You do not know him?
No, I don't. Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Nie za bardzo pomocna, ale...
Hi, ma'am.
Madame Piemu ten hajs potrzebny.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I found this map.
It came from the club. It might be useful to find out if that club...
I found this.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has a million faces.
No.
I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers. But he
Jeszcze
wouldn't
może
buy
pojawi
it.
się w
He's
wizytówce.
too scared.
I'll give him something to
właśnie.
be scared of. Follow me, George!
No właśnie, za to ją lubię. Będzie scena.
Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
No.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady
Dostaniemy
Piermont.
manuskrypt.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
Więc musimy, jak widzicie, mamy gangsterów przed hotelem i oni nas skutecznie przeszukują i jak znajdą u nas manuskrypt, no to powinna być scena, gdzie dwóch mężczyzn wrzuca do mostu worek. Jest game over i nagrobek. Rest in peace, Rzecz Stobart. Więc dlatego to trzeba zrobić z manuskryptem. Jest alejka obok hotelu. Tam na lewo od wejścia. Dobrze, tak szybko przewija ekran. Ale tu będzie wolno to robić.
Hold it right there. Search him again, Flap.
Nothing, Guido.
Okay, let him go.
No, tu jest ta
If
nasza
the
alejka.
manuscript
Jest
was
nasz
what Flap
manuskrypt.
and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico.